Well, this is the part where I usually say, welcome back to the Frugal Gardener's Garden. But you can obviously see I'm not in the garden today. I'm in the kitchen, and I'm showing you a bunch of eggs that I recently got from my chickens. One of the reasons, one of the perks of living on a homestead is we're allowed to have chickens where we couldn't have at our previous residence in the city. But I guess you're wondering, why am I showing you eggs if this is a gardening channel? The reason is because we're after this, the egg shells. What happens after you eat the eggs from the chickens, people generally throw away the shells. And when you consider how much eggs cost these days, you want to get as much use out of your chickens and chicken eggs as you possibly can. So I'm going to walk you through 3 ways to process your shells and use them in your garden. And in case you haven't figured out why, well, I'll give you a couple of reasons. One is because you need the shells to help your plants to grow and to thrive. And so people generally do things like they'll buy limestone, they'll buy calcium nitrate, oyster shells, bone meal, and all those things can get pricey, especially with food prices the way they are now. A lot of people are gardening in order to save money. This is a way that you can provide calcium, well, not just for your garden, but also for your chickens. And 2 of the ways I use, I'll tell you all 3. I'll explain to you later on why I'm going to show you the 3rd method, even though I don't use it. But this is the most popular for me. And that is when I get shells like this, I save them, and I generally double bag them in just little, supermarket bags, close them up tight, and put them in the bottom of your refrigerator or in your freezer until you get enough that you want to process them. Or if you live nearby a restaurant or a breakfast spot that cooks a lot of eggs, and you're familiar with the owner, they may give you their eggshells, and you'll come up with a lot. This is quite a bit. So the first method, the method that I prefer, is to put these on a sheet tray and bake them. You bake them at 250 degrees for 20 to 30 minutes. Of course, you're going to preheat your oven. And when they come out, this is what you're going to end up with. And there are people will tell you that basically you only need 10 minutes at 200 degrees. That's probably fine, but I like to be cautious, so I go with a higher temperature and a little more extra time. And basically what happens is these are enough that I've broken these up enough that I can now put them in this coffee grinder. This is what I got from an old neighbor of mine who was nice enough to give this to me. This is a designated coffee grinder. In other words, I only use this for eggshells. I have 2 of these, and I have 1 that I use for coffee. So I will grind these up and put them in a container, and that's all I need to do. They're ready to go. The second method is to put them in a pot and basically boil them. So you put them in a pot, you boil them for about the same amount of time. I would say 15 minutes, 20 minutes is good, but the longer, the better. So the 3rd method is a method that to be frank, I never use, but some people do. So I want to set the record straight. If you just take these eggshells and you toss them in the microwave like this, you are probably basically wasting your time. They need to be wet, and In a lot of cases, people will say that they need to be covered in water in order for this to work properly. The water needs to boil inside the microwave over the eggshells for a minimum of 3 minutes. The problem with microwaves is they are notoriously uneven when it comes to cooking. So for me, for my money, this is kind of a hit and miss. You don't know if you're getting all the salmonella out of them or not. This also should be covered because you want the steam to circulate, you want the water to boil faster, and you want this to be more effective. A lot of people want to use this method, not a lot, but there are people who want to use this method because it's faster, because it's easier, but it's less effective, which is the reason why I never use it. So let's move on to what happens after you get the salmonella out of your eggshells. So in order to prevent a mess, I generally just put the coffee grinder inside of the sheet pan so that any of the eggshells that fall out of the coffee grinder fall back into the sheet pan and not onto the table. And this is what you get. I mean, this is pretty fine. You don't have to grind it up this much, but I like to grind it up pretty fine because it's easier for to disperse, to dilute. This, when this gets wet, this is going to go into the soil immediately. It's not going to take, days or weeks. Some people leave their eggshells whole like this because they put them around their plants, and it also prevents the slugs from getting into their garden because of the sharp edges on the shells. So if you grind this a little bit less, then it's going to be a little bit more coarse. It's going to take a little longer to dissolve in your garden, but this is the texture that I like to use. So I'm going to grind all these up, and let's see how much we have when I get done. So it took about 5 minutes or so for me to run these through the coffee grinder, and let's see what we got. I'm not sure if you can see that or not. So 2 pounds, and well, it keeps fluctuating. So I would say this is about 2.5 pounds, which is not bad. This is what it looks like when it's completed. This is the finished product. And I mean, that's probably about half of a 5-pound bag of sugar. So that's not bad for free calcium for your garden. And like I said, this is, well, we're in October now, so a lot of people are not gardening, but this is a perfect opportunity to start saving these shells over the winter. You can save them over the winter. I mean, they're not going to go bad. They're just eggshells, and just continue to put them in the bags and continue to store them. And this is, for me, well, because I have so many eggs, this is just a couple of weeks worth. But if you save these over the course of a couple of months, over the course of the winter, I mean, you could end up with, I don't know, maybe 8 to 10 pounds, which is a nice score for something that you don't really have to pay for. So that's it. That's my little mini tutorial on what you can do with your eggshells to save money on your garden. I also do I have a video on coffee grounds. I have a video on banana peels, anything that comes from the soil that I can convert or transfer, reuse to put back in the soil, I'm going to do it, especially if it's something that can save us money, especially during these times. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you put this to use. I am the Frugal Gardener, and my thing right now is, you may know everything that I've already shown you, but there are a lot of new gardeners out there, especially with prices the way they are now. So if you have friends, relatives, neighbors, co-workers, church members that want to get into gardening or are into gardening and don't have the knowledge that you have, please share this and other videos with them, help them along in their gardening journey. I really appreciate it. I would also appreciate a thumbs up and any comments you choose to add. I respond to each and every one of them. I appreciate your support. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. I'll catch you guys on the flip side. And remember what I always say, when you grow your own food, you'll always know where it comes from. Like I said, I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Enjoy the rest of your day.